Do you ever feel like as a mom, you're operating off of so much of it is gut feeling and not so much things that you can like actually pinpoint to other people is the reason why? It is just this feeling in your spirit that tells you something is wrong. I'm going to answer this question, but so much of my experience with elements is stuff that I can't even really, I couldn't even begin to explain to you, other than for you to just trust me when I say my spirit just could not be at ease with this school. But to answer your question, did I consider the fallout or the impact it would have on my son? If you know me and you know my platform and you know how cerebral I am about things, thinking is all I did. And so much of my thinking was let it go, let it go, let it go. Even my husband was like, well, could you just let them finish the year? But when your spirit is not at ease and you keep feeling like an inner voice telling you something is wrong, I could not just let it go. Like there was this underlying sense that you have to drink the Kool-Aid and you just have to get it. And I don't think that there's anything that I could have done differently that would have changed this outcome. Certainly, it maybe would have delayed the outcome, that I could have bought myself some time. But I'm not the greatest pretender, right? I'm not the greatest at hiding how I feel or never speaking up. And so ultimately I would have had to have a conversation with them wherein I shared my concerns or my issues with how things were being handled. And I do think at that point we would have been told to get the hell out. I've shared my story in several local Facebook groups, and I've had maybe 4 or 5 families reach out and tell me that they had similar experiences, or that they were deeply traumatized by the experience that they had at the school. And so I really and truly believe that there's a pattern of behavior with the director of this school that exists outside of this singular circumstance. So I want to share with you a few things that I can pinpoint that sort of started getting me on edge and not comfortable with the school. I want to say from like maybe the 3rd or 4th day. So the 3rd or 4th day, I'm working as a sub at the school. Pause. I also want to share that there's been some conversation about people thinking that this was really intricately tied to my work as managing their Instagram and also their Facebook. I, honest to God, don't think that consideration even came up. Truly, I really and truly don't, because at no point was the social media work mentioned until after they had expelled JB. Because I, again, still operating as like a rational and normal person, when I got the expulsion email, I responded with saying, but Julian's contract, my contract to do the work for Julian's enrollment is ending December 1st. I'm not even paying for this kid to go here. And it's November 25th. This was coming, we were going to have this conversation, this was coming to an end. So that didn't even come up. I don't think she cared that much. Yes, it was a good look to have Black people at the school and to have them on their social media. But I don't, because if it mattered that much to them, they would have made it right with me. If it was that important to them to appear to be inclusive and to talk, they would have operated in a different way. She's gotten away with it so much because people don't leave reviews. I didn't find a single negative review about Elements Academy when I was looking for them. All the reviews were positive on their Google. I mean, they're not positive now because I went on their Google page and submitted a review. I also did that on their Facebook, and anyone can do it. Honestly, anyone can leave. You don't even have to write anything. Just you can leave a 1 star if you so choose, if that's been your experience with them. People haven't been talking out loud. I'm the first one to actually say this out loud. And I think that's why they've been able to operate the way they have with impunity. Like, nobody feels like there's any recourse. It's a private school, but there are still laws that you have to abide by. There are still codes of ethics that you have to abide by. So this is wild to me, truly. As a nonprofit at that, it's crazy. One of the examples I have that really started to make me feel uneasy with the school was probably, I want to say, the 3rd or 4th day. JB was outside playing with a kite, and he'd been playing with this kite since the 1st day of school. So now we're up to like the second, I think it's the 2nd full week of school. And so I turned to his teacher. Remember, there's 3 teachers at the school. I turned to his teacher and I say to her, total, including the director and the associate director. I say to the teacher at the school, I look at her and I say, well, how do you teach kids here? Because unlike, I had visited another unschooling school called Sudbury Valley, and they have Sudbury Valley schools all over. I visited them last year. I went to their open house. There were tons of parents. They had crackers and cheese. I need the charcuterie was charcuterie. And they had that. And they had staff there and they had students there, and it was all very transparent about who they were. They even had a book that they gave you to tell you, to explain their, pedagogy or lack of pedagogy. Like, they don't keep any secrets. They don't hold you on what it is. This school was way more not transparent. You didn't understand exactly how and they always operated off of, well, you just have to get it. You just have to get it. And I did eventually kind of get it, but still was giving them grace and thinking that a lot of what they couldn't do was due to lack of resources. It's 3 women. They're running, but let's real talk. How many public school teachers are managing classrooms of like 24, 25 kids solo? with these kids got IEP, and it's not right, but they manage it. They communicate with the parents. They teach the kids every day. They do what they can within the system that they're in. These people have, I think, less than 20 kids, split up between 3 people. Tell me why it is you can't get it together, okay? So I turn to the teacher and I say to her, how do you teach the kids here? Because I need to know this not only as a parent, but also as the person who's running their Instagram, right? Posting whatever to their Facebook. And she says to me, I can't answer your question. And so I started trying to help her out. I'm like, well, listen, look, he's out here. He's playing with this kite. He loves kites. He's been playing with it. How would you take the kite and turn it into a lesson? Because the kite, it's science, it's aerodynamics. And she's like, yeah, that's what we would do. That's what we would do. But I'm not good. I can't really, because she then alluded to the fact that apparently they had maybe been at some sort of pop-up where perhaps she had been approached by parents there and she struggled with articulating their philosophy. But she'd been at the school now 4 or 5 years. She'd been working there for several years. So to me, I'm looking at it and I'm just kind of like, at what point would the director have coached you or taught you the language you need to be able to communicate to parents as far as what this is so people can understand and get on board? She couldn't answer the question. And I think that was my first inkling as to, oh my God, where am I and what am I doing? But at this point, I'm already in. The JB would not do well in a public school setting. I know that, like, with every fiber of my being. But back to answering the original question is, did I consider him? I considered him in everything. I thought about the impact. I considered him on the morning that his expulsion came through. I woke up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and the words on my mouth were his name, Buddy. Okay, we call him Buddy. But I woke up like it was like a start and I was like, Buddy. And like 3 or 4 hours later, I got the expulsion email. So I don't think that there's anything that I could have done differently that would have changed the outcome, because clearly this was a drink the Kool-Aid establishment where you could not ask questions, where you just had to get it and you just had to fit in. And if you weren't in that place of getting it or just fitting in, that you were going to be thrown out like trash. If you listen to the voice memo that I sent this person, in the original video, I played this voice memo for you, all of you. How anyone could listen to me and that voice memo and think that I didn't consider or think of my child is so incredibly hurtful to me, because y'all know I don't play by my kids. And you have to understand and appreciate that there's so much nuance. There's so much I can't quite even explain to you, that is just this feeling in my chest and in my body that said to me, this place is not right. So if you're operating with that feeling and you're trying to fight that feeling because you're trying to do the best thing by your child, you're trying to do it all the best you can, because at the end of the day, this is not a business, like a business. If it's 2 grown adults dealing with each other and not communicating in the best way, whatever, it is what it is. But if you're in a school and this is a parent and this is a child, obviously the customer here is always right, because they're the parent. They have to be. And you have to manage the situation. There was nothing preventing her from picking up the phone and calling me, like, Lisa, come in. I want to talk to you, please. Let's fix this. Whatever it is, let's work through this. I don't think if she could have worked through it with me, because clearly how they operate is not how we operate. But there was no attempt on her part truly to mediate the situation, because for her, it was personal. For her, how dare I? Somebody who she offered a partial scholarship to and this work tuition program to, how dare I have the audacity to not be appreciative enough and question anything about how they're running the school? And on the final day that I had to tell JB that he would not be returning, he turned to me and said, I trusted them. I thought that they liked me. And we all, like, we were despondent, like me, my husband, him, like it was a full 2-3 days of like deep mourning and sadness. And I'm never going to forget that as a mom. Like, I can forget me, right? Because I was willing, even after the initial email that was an expulsion, I was willing to, like, okay, let's buy a little time, sort this out, because for his benefit, which in hindsight is crazy to me. Like, I don't even know why I was trying. Like, that was insane to me. Just get him the fuck up out of there. I don't even know. But I had like other friends like, oh, we fix it. Like putting the burden on me to somehow make this right and communicate. Oh, I didn't communicate enough. I didn't communicate. It's a school. I'm a mother. I can advocate for one child and it should not impact the other child, period. But, you do what you can. So yes, I considered him. I thought of him. I always think of him. I always think of my children. And I'm just going to keep moving forward. I hope that we can recuperate at least the money that they owe us. And that's where I am at this. And obviously, some ways that you can support is by sharing the story any and everywhere that you possibly can. I posted it to TikTok, Instagram here, Facebook, YouTube, and I'm Consciously Lisa on every platform. So if you see it and you share it, support it, that would be great. Anyway, thanks for watching. And I'll keep y'all posted, maybe with a part 3.